Today we're going to see what happens when we enable ultimate cross-pathing on BTD6's newest tower, the Desperado, with all 5 tier 5 upgrades. So Desperado is the only tower that I have enabled ultimate cross-pathing on for this run, so we're going to basically throw as many buffs on that single Desperado as possible, and well, see how long we can make it on chimps. I reckon early game is going to be the hardest part, knowing how weak Desperado is early game until tier 3. However, I should bring up at this point that there were several changes recently made to Desperado. As I get Nomad here, it is a good time to mention that the Wanderer's attack rate is up from 30 to 45 when there is nothing next to it. The bonus is up so that once you have 3 monkeys, it's back to 0. But still a big buff for early game, and also the Nomad's max attack rate is up to 50% now, with the double rate buff per balloon going up a lot. Now, sadly, that still somehow is not enough to beat round 9. I guess maybe it's better to get standoff, because I guess at most it's only going to be a couple balloons in a range at a time, so we'll prioritize that instead of Nomad first, and okay, that seems to be so much better. Duh. But because of ultimate cross-pathing, we can double dip. I mean, you could have done 2-0-2 before, but now we can triple dip with the bullseye to make damn sure that hopefully the 2-2-2 Desperado gets us to the early game. Nomad buff probably coming in clutch with that group of blues there. It should allow us to get bullseye. Now from here, it would make sense to go for Big Iron next, as that is the cheapest tier 3. Problem is, I don't think the 2-2-0 is even strong enough after buffs to make it there. Dies to round 13 of all rounds, seriously. Given I have no money for anything else, I guess I have to drop, I don't know, a Dart Monkey. Just get me through. That's how rough it is, only having 1 pierce at a time as your main damage source. Now we can at least afford Geraldo for safety. Don't worry, there's no gonna be a Jerry Fire jump scare here. It's just there for the buffs that it gives. Mostly the range, I would think. Round 19 is still a struggle. You know what? I think a very good buff for Desperado would be Jar Pickles, because it gives +1 damage but loses attack speed in the process. However, attack speed nerfs are not as bad on Desperado, because I should remind you that attack speed does not affect the time between shots, so technically, like, attack speed penalties are better than attack speed buffs. Obviously not like in a raw percentage kind of way, but you know what I mean. At least I hope what I'm saying makes sense. See? Round 19, round 20 was very easy, and now if we just beat this one round, we've got the Big Iron. Unfortunately, this round's got hands, and I'm literally $50 short of a Big Iron. I guess buying Jar Pickles cost more money than to afford us buying it, so frickin' Jerry Fire or Shooty Turret. And finally, on round 22, we can get ourselves the Big Iron. And now we should be safe, because this thing is like 6 times the amount of attack speed, essentially. Now, buying Big Iron does now mean I don't have lead popping. You need a Deadeye to the cheapest upgrade to get lead popping in Desperado. I guess an outbuff solves our problem. It basically provides lead popping and is support. Now's a good time to mention every single change Desperado got this update, because there were a lot of them, and they're going to be relevant, especially for ultimate cross-pathing. So let's go in order, because every single path got changed. Here are all of top path's changes, and it's a pretty big one, as the Big Iron maximum standoff bonus is up to 120% instead of 60. So you lose the entire bonus when there's 4 balloons on the screen, but, you know, if there's 4 or if there's 3 or less, then it's a huge buff, especially if it's the only balloon. So I would bet no longer will the bads be an issue. I mean, they were an issue before, but 120% versus 60 is big. Other notes, Twin Six's damage is up, the price is reduced, and Blazing Sun Fire has been made a little bit better. Now let's head on over to the middle path. Deadeye's rifle pierces up, Bounty Hunter is a little bit cheaper and more rifle damage. Golden Justice is rifle damage and pistol pierce, and all that good stuff is buffed too. Now that we got a second weapon to the 5-5 Desperado, what happens is kind of what you would expect. The big range is still the rifle. The mini range is the pistol, but because the pistol is Big Iron, it is a very strong short range attack. I'm not going to buy the Enforcer just yet, because I actually know what happens when you buy the third weapon. Keep that a surprise for the time being. Fun fact, this is actually the second time that I'm doing a run like this, because I actually did try to check this out pre-update, but after seeing the patch notes made, the 555 is likely, again, going to be so much stronger. Now let's get 442. We'll buy the tier 5s of these top paths before adding our third weapon. But isn't it cool that the main weakness of the Bounty Hunter middle path in the first place, aka balloons being in range, is no longer an issue because of the fact that the small range stack is a very strong one, as in the Blazing Sun. Although technically you can make the argument that if you just bought two separate Desperados, one Blazing Sun and one Bounty Hunter, that you would just get benefits from both, and it'd be better than combining both on a single tower. But that's not counting any of the, again, calculations. If the main pistol damage of a tier 3 or above tower is increased, then that applies to, I guess, the existing Desperado. To specify, I mean, like, I think Bounty Hunter and Deadeye increases the pistol damage, so I assume that carries over into the Blazing Sun. So that means, in theory, the Blazing Sun should be a lot stronger when it's using its attack over here. And I don't know about you, but it sure does seem like right now that the Blazing Sun is stronger than usual. Obviously, it's mostly using its rifle before it even gets in range, so it's hard to tell. But here, let's take a look at these BFBs here. Right now, it's still using its main attack, but if I use the Deadeye, it should have enough range to reach the Sprams there now. And you see, isn't the pistol doing a lot more damage than usual? I don't think Blazing Sun was that good, like to basically one-tap Moabs. It's hard to see there if it was truly one-tapping, but it sure looked like a solid amount. I don't think the Blazing Sun should be able to, or normally, take... How many shots is that? It's hard to tell, but it feels like 5 shots for a Moab. I think normally it does 20 Moab damage, correct me if I'm wrong about that, or 15. But that does not look like 15. Is that just me? So I know I can afford Golden Justice right now, but I'm holding off because I want to see the power of the Blazing Sun. And also, I do realize that I didn't really keep Nomad stacks. The way things are looking, preventing the rifle from having any balloons or towers in range is really hard. So we'll just really worry about the Blazing Sun attack speed. But again, attack speed nerfs aren't really that bad, so I don't hate it too much if this 2x stack goes back down to 0. I'll try, though, at least. Funnily enough, buying an alt buff might have been worse for me, because as you see, when it's active, the range is big enough to reach both of those villages there, so that loses 30% attack speed. This thing only gives you 10 in the first place. We obviously got it for the +1 damage, of course. That would be a fun custom challenge, eh? When Alchemist makes your tower worse. That's if people nowadays even make challenges like that. I think I've seen enough Blazing Sun domination. After this round, let's add Enforcer and see what changes if we add a third weapon. Will there be now a third range indicator? And so will that mean that it will have the opportunity to swap between 3 weapons at a time? Well, here's what happens as I buy Enforcer. The range circle got darker in the middle, and that's it. I think most likely my theory is that it's now overlapping its 2 small range attacks, and that means it seems like it's prioritizing the bottom crosspath actually, because look, I'm suddenly struggling to Moabs when I wasn't before, and that's why I held off from buying Enforcer, because as you saw there, it seems like buying bottom crosspath will override top path no matter what, thus making it not a good thing to buy unless I can afford a tier 5 straight up. So because of that, let's just get the Golden Justice, which, by the way, I think Golden Justice increases pistol damage even more, so I expect the Blazing Sun to go even harder now. But this should allow us to save for a true 555 easier, as well as other support buffs whenever I need it. Also, Crisis Averted, it appears we got back our 3x stack Nomad because I had Jibby Potion on it earlier. Let me just see if a tier 4 alt buff is of enough range. Ooh, it goes down to 2 stacks. I still think overall it's worth it. Stronger Stim gives a stronger attack buff, as well as just more shots it works for. It's debatable, I guess. So, I think this round we're going to see that Blazing Sun action go hard. I think it's 3-shotting. It's 3-shotting DDTs, guys. Maybe even 1-shotting if we get a crit on it. That's insane. I don't even want to buy a 555 for this rate. Can the Desert Phantom really beat that? I mean, probably, yeah, once round 100 plus comes. I know there's rounds in the 100s that have like 500 BFBs and mobs at the same time, so that's probably what will kill Blazing Sun. But for the time being, these 90s rounds that are not as dense are just gonna get deleted the moment anything gets in this tiny range here. So, here is 98 for your entertainment. We'll use the Mark to Pop ability. Let it attack. And, okay, that was close than I made it out to be. Probably shouldn't use that ability when there's cerams just zooming on by, but that's easy. Normally, again, Blazing Sun should take more than... or it should take more than one shot to break down each ceramic. But that pistol damage is nuts. Each F ceram is what? I think 120 HP? Would be nice to see how much single target damage it was doing, but right now it's going to reutilize its rifle attack, so... it seems like rifle attack is the exact same damage. I know it does 4,000 damage crits, and that also did 4,000 damage. And also, I unintentionally did a 2 Mega Pops challenge in the meantime. That was not the main goal, though, and it was... I mean, 2 Mega Pops is easy when you have the ability Ultimate Crosspath, so that's not really that impressive. Let's be real. So again, 100s are a good test. These are basically 500 mobs at the same time, but Blazing Sun is keeping up with them, believe it or not. What the hell is this tower, man? I can tell you for a fact that pre-Update 50, the synergy for Ultimate Crosspathing on Desperado was not really there. It was like kind of cheeks compared to what you're seeing right now. I'm not even using Called Arms, by the way. This is just Blazing Sun casually keeping up with everything. Now, I do see it occasionally use a rifle attack, which I guess does help a little bit. Okay. Now Call Arms, because I feel like it's fallen behind. I'm not going to use the range buff, because again, that would lose three Nomads, and that's a lot of attack speed that I could lose, but clean. Also, sorry, I keep on mixing up my Nomad and Wanderer. Can you blame me? They're both on the bottom crosspath, but the Nomad is the cap on mana balloons on screen, so I guess, yeah, it being a 50% buff, it's pretty big now. I think I've seen everything I need to see if this is able to be at 119. I do have to use a Reju potion to refresh Homeland this round because I didn't have it for, I had to use it for 117. Without any utility, that's what Desperado struggles to most. Just super high speed stuff. So here we should be able to see more clearly just how strong Blazing Sun is, because it's definitely going to fall behind to 3. The Railgun's going to fall behind to 3 bads. There's 1, and there's 2. Here's 3. Let's use this thing so we can see that, yep, Blazing Sun is doing about 2,000 damage per burst. Not to mention, each burst is in really quick succession, and that made quick work of it. Alright, we get it, Blazing Sun, we're good. Now, let's see what happens with Desert Phantom. And now we finally bring up Desert Phantom patch notes. Their pistol damage did get increased a good amount. Unfortunately, the shotgun attack cooldown got nerfed. That was to compensate for buffs to Wanderer and Nomad, but that kind of just indirectly nerfed the bottom crosspath and while buffing the top and middle. Like, you know what I mean? And I guess with adding Desert Phantom, we now have some utility. And it's not as bad as I expected. Is it better than Blazing Sun? Is yet to be seen, considering we did survive a 120 round. I still think it's definitely holding its own again. Anyway, if I can save 30 more thousand for Ultra Boost, then great. Otherwise, if this does fail, I'll probably have to finally add some support. And yeah, if I don't want to keep using Reju potions all the time to keep Homeland active, I think I should get support. But before that, how about we just get some more cover damage, aka in the form of a Called Arms. So rip the Ultra Boost stream, plus again, attack speed isn't good on Desperado in the first place. So I don't hate missing out Ultra Boost. Although I know in saying that, I end up getting attack speed anyway, but hey, this thing gives Pierce too. And Pierce is definitely worthwhile. Ah, shit, you know what I just realized though? As good as the Blazing Sun or the Desert Phantom has been, I would like the opportunity to bring the Blazing Sun back for round 140. Because once it gets in close range, we're not going to have single target that round, and I'm pretty sure I need as much damage as I can there. I guess we'll worry about that later and just enjoy our time for the time being. As an added benefit of having more attack speed, Desert Phantom now has even more super utility, so even lower chance of anything getting by. Here's 138. If I have to use Rejuve this round, probably. Let's use a Called Arms while there's a little bit of downtime here, but wow. With no attack speed buffs, the Desert Phantom is still doing some pretty epic knockback. Like, look at this. I'm sorry, but Absolute Zero Who, we don't even need ya. What other attack speed buffs can I get in the next couple rounds? We'll worry about that in 30 seconds. I'm guessing probably, I don't know, a second Ultra Boost or Overclock to cover the downtime. Otherwise, not sure again, because giving more range is bad. It would lose me stacks, but given that I do have no more Wanderer stacks on the rifle, it is worthwhile to start the round with as much range as I can. Does that make any sense? So, for example, use it now. That hits, right? It sure does. Let's see how much damage we can pull out. Don't let it use the, what do you call it, Desert Phantom attack, so we actually wanted to lose range from here. Don't give it back. Oh, holy crap, it did pop. That's just from the rifle, goddamn. I have to think, I gotta believe the rifle is also buffed, like, right? I don't think a normal Golden Justice with these buffs is enough to take down a 140 F-Bad. That has, like, what, 200k HP? That's just a random guesstimate. But 140 is not the end. We can go beyond. If I'd known that, maybe I should have used some rejuves and we could have gotten Ultra Boost by now, but it is what it is. I think if anything, it's probably one of the normal rounds that will kill me, because having a non-single target means, right, standoff. I forgot about the standoff bonus. That probably, like, helped. But the issue with multiple balloons on screen is, as you see here, if we don't kill the bandit time, then goodbye rifle. We're back to just shotgun attack, which is pathetic, and I think 143 is finally the end. I'll try again, but there's no way to gain back the rifle attack. There's going to be constantly ZMGs in this range. I think my goal has to be try to do as much damage before anything gets in range in the first place, because those bats came in at the same amount of damage as they did exiting. Let's see what I could change. Well, for one, do the same thing. Give range. Put this on strong. Use the Mark 12 ability, and there's one. But remember, there's 3 of them. And now that Bloons is starting to go back in range again, we can't utilize that rifle attack. One more try here. We're down to 20% HP now. There is a chance. Oh, yep, there we go. There we go. Make sure Homeland's active all the way so we don't die to any of this. Uh-oh, nope. Nope, we lost Homeland. But somehow we survived the balloons on the last bend. Jeez, and now we got Overclock back. And this is good, right? We have like 2 seconds until Homeland. Nope. Well, we know it works at the very least. Especially if I add, again, an Absolute Zero or something. Attempt number 300. Half kidding, but it's felt like 300 attempts, mind you. I end up getting a Relentless Glue out of range so that we keep 2 stacks. Stun on that helps a ton. And we did make it through one more round. Listen, I know this is modded, but I don't think anybody would have expected a 5-5 Desperado to make it this far on Chimps mode. I think this round is finally it. There are 2 bats this time with more HP and a bit more spread apart so that the shrapnel does not stack. I'll give it one more go, but again, there's not really much I can add with 20, 30, even with 30k. I've added my second overclock too. There's nothing that really provides the raw single target that we need. Could try last, but the thing is, if any balloons are in range, then last or strong is just going to target the balloons in close range rather than bad, so GG. This here, I guess, is my closest attempt, and when I mean close, it's, yeah, still a good amount of HP left. We tried, and that's all that matters. Thanks for watching. If you want to see how other 555 towers work, then check out this one I did on the Monkey back when it got released over a year ago. Peace.